Hello and welcome along to this UCAS International podcast sub-series called Ask Me Anything. This is where we answer your questions on life in the UK as a student. And in today's episode, we are focusing rather broadly on UK education and student lifestyles. So some of you have submitted questions. Thank you very much indeed. If you did submit a question, we're going to get through some of the most common ones that we were asked. And we're going to do that in the company of myself, Robbie James, and also Johnny Parks joining us from Lancaster University and Beth Thomas from Abertay University. Nice to have you both on the podcast. Welcome along. Johnny, let's go to you first with a rather broad question here. I'm going to ask you to do your best sales pitch. Why pick the UK? Like I said, broad.
Why pick the UK is such a big question. Excellent question. I think for me, a reason why students should pick the UK, I think it's the variety, and the different university experiences you can have. If you want to have that city experience, you can do that in so many different locations, whether it's in the north. I'm going to go for the north first, being from Lancaster. I'm going even further north up into Scotland. But then also having the cities like London, Birmingham, Manchester. So lots of variety there. If you're looking for that campus experience, there's also a really good group of campus universities. So you have such a variety, so many different courses to choose from across the arts, across the sciences, business. So yeah, if you want to come to a country where you've got different places to explore, lots of different cultures which are not far away from each other, lots of different communities which are close to each other, then come to the UK.
Go on, Beth. Try and back that up as the second salesperson of the UK.
Yeah, I think something else I'd want to add is international students are really welcome in the UK. They really love having us here. I'm a former international student myself, and I felt immediately welcome and part of the community. As long as you're willing to go, they love having us here, and it's a really fun place to be a student. There's so much fantastic student life for you to get involved in. Whether you're north of the border in Scotland or south of the border in England, you're going to find amazing cultural activities to augment your fantastic student experience.
I love that you were once an international student and now you are on this UCAS International podcast talking all about it. And it leads us on nicely as well to our next question. So, Beth, if you can go back in your journey, how can students and how did you prepare for life in the UK?
So, it has been a number of years since I prepared, but I think that there's a lot to be done. And the most important thing is to come with an open mind, to come there kind of understanding that you're coming to another country where things might not be done exactly as you expect or as you're used to, but you're willing to give it a go and find out how to do things here. So things like what to bring with you. Every university is going to talk about that slightly differently. You might find that your clothing is going to be very different in this country. You might find that it's very similar depending on where you're coming from. But I think coming in with an open mind, being ready to give it a go and dive in and be your own advocate and say, I need some help here, or I'm not certain about these things. That's the kind of things that prepares you better than anything for coming overseas.
I'm pleased you mentioned the clothing thing because we're going to come on to packing essentials very shortly. Johnny, anything to add there?
No, I think it's being brave and being open-minded. They're two excellent points, really. I think when you arrive in the UK and you move into your halls, wherever that is, go and speak to that person in the room next door. As much as you might feel nervous, and that first conversation might be a little bit of a difficult one, making that first step is so important. So yeah, get out there and be brave and make the most of those opportunities.
I'm trying to go back, Beth, and think about your journey. What would that first thing have been that you packed in your suitcase? Because one of our questions is, what are the most important things to pack as an international student? Can you remember that first item that went in?
Probably my favorite outfit, the thing that I felt most comfortable in, the kind of thing that I knew that I could wear to class and feel like I looked okay and I was, putting my best self forward. So I think, clothing that you're comfortable in, whether it is maybe suitable for your climate or not, you can always layer things on top of it. So being comfortable, having something that will make you think of home and remember home enough, and maybe even that you can turn to when you're feeling a little homesick, but something that you can embrace in your new home. I found that to be really helpful. So I think it was my favorite outfit, and then also my favorite book. My favorite book that I love to read. So I brought that with me, and that kind of was almost a comfort thing for me.
A book is absolutely a safe sanctuary to take around with you, isn't it? What's at the
Yes.
top of Johnny's packing essentials, otherwise known as JP's, JPEs? That was easy.
That's
Pretty
perfect.
rolls off the
I love
tongue.
it. Absolutely. I'm going to go for food. I think like whatever food you can bring to the UK, like maybe some sweets from home or something like that. Just something where you think, you know what, I might struggle to find this, quickly and easily when I move to like my new country. So yeah, some kind of comfort foods there. But of course, yeah, make sure it's stuff that you can bring as well.
There's definitely a podcast or an Instagram account in that. JPEs. I've written that down on my notes. You can have that one
You
for
heard it
free,
here
Johnny.
first.
Yeah, you're welcome. Next question is all about part-time work. How hard is it how hard is it to find part-time work or a part-time job as an international student? Beth, we'll come to you with that one.
Sure. I think the most important thing really to understand, first of all, is what you are allowed to do and what you're not. As an international student, you are on a student visa, which means that you have access to work up to 20 hours per week of paid work or voluntary work. So it's really important that you know that. You know that what you're allowed to do and you're not. But beyond that, it's a case of really kind of being, again, open-minded as to what do you want to do. Chances are the university that you're going to will have a job center. They'll oftentimes have jobs on campus, and they may be able to recommend jobs off campus as well. A lot of universities are in or near towns that have a lot of hospitality. So I think as long as you're willing to be a little bit flexible with your working hours, potentially work on the weekend, then you should be able to find something that will fill up that 20 hours. In particular, the good advantage of the UK is you don't tend to have quite as many hours in class as you might do, for example, in the US. So you do have time for a part-time job. You can pick up a few hours as a barista, as a working in a coffee shop, working in a restaurant, in a cafe, in a hotel, whatever it might be. There's usually plenty out there, and it's just about being willing to kind of hit the ground and see what you can apply for.
So that's interesting, Beth. So can all students who study in the UK work?
Well, that's a really good question. And actually, I should clarify, not every single student can work. Most students can, the vast majority can, but it's always up to the student to make sure they have that permission by checking on their visa rules. It will be very clear to them on their e-visa as to whether that's something that's permitted or not. So it is up to them to check that and follow the rules.
And I suppose as well, Johnny, the good thing is that if you're in an area that has a university, it's therefore going to have lots of places that need people to work in, like restaurants and cafes and hospitality and various other things going on.
Yeah, absolutely. On campus universities, you've got all of the restaurants and all the different outlets there. I think the other thing that I would mention is that universities are always looking for really passionate, outgoing students to be ambassadors for their university. That will be at a university level or even at a subject level. So at the very start of term, keep an eye out for those early adverts, those early job adverts that go out usually within the first few weeks, because they're always looking for really good representatives for their courses. And I can say, as someone who was an ambassador and has been in those roles, it's one of the easiest jobs you can do because you're talking about you and your experience in your course. So I'd really recommend it. Super flexible and really good to balance alongside your studies.
Good stuff.
Yes.
I like that very much. Let's end on a sort of a sociable note, shall we? How can I make friends in a new country? Johnny, we'll come back to you with this one. What's your advice?
I think it honestly, it comes back to that point which Beth raised. Be outgoing, and even if you feel a bit nervous, try and put on a brave face. So go and speak to as many people as you feel you can. Universities will often have societies for students coming from certain countries, for nationality groups. So if you're wanting to, meet people from home, that's a very quick way to do that. But I'd also actually say go and join societies for other countries, other nationalities, and get to meet like people from all around the world. So yeah, I think societies, hobby groups, club groups, that's a really, really quick and easy way that you can meet people.
I love that idea of sort of mixing with other international students, but maybe from a different country. That's really fun and outside the box. Beth, anything to add there?
Yeah, I mean, the big thing is get involved, get out there. I mean, even if you're scared, even if you're nervous, even if you're tired and jet lagged, usually the first week of term is literally designed for you to go out and make friends. Orientation week, Freshers Week, whatever they might call it at the university you go to, it's all about finding a way to go out and meet the people that you want to meet. But also, don't feel pressured that that's the only time you can do it. You're going to meet people through your classes. You're going to meet people if you play sports. So it's about kind of getting out there and just chatting to the people next to you. Everybody's kind of nervous. Everybody's a little scared coming to university. So embrace that and have fun, but definitely just go out, get involved.
We're a nice
bunch.
Go on, Johnny.
Yeah.
No, just to add to that, I think for me with my experience, I'm really, really into music. When I came to university, I wanted to do music, but I was a little bit shy about it. But I remember there was an event on at Lancaster, and I was in two minds about going. And I thought, you know what, let's go. And I'm so glad I did, because in the end, I ended up meeting people who became friends for the rest of my time at university. So there you go, some living proof for you. Just go and do it and see what happens. And the worst that happens is it doesn't quite work. And that's fine, because there are so many other opportunities to meet people whilst you're at university.
So nice. I love that. Just finally, as you mentioned music, favourite band, artist, Johnny, go.
Oh, wow. These kind of questions are so difficult. I'm going to go for Jimi Hendrix. I'm a guitarist through and through. I'm all about that.
Really targeting our younger audience. Love it. Beth?
Oh yeah, at the moment I'm kind of big on Kelly Clarkson, actually. I'm really enjoying her music at the moment, so kind of women power stuff.
It's good stuff. You just don't get that. You do not get Jimi Hendrix and Kelly Clarkson mentioned within 10 seconds of each other anywhere else. Only on the UCAS International podcast. Love it. Thank you very much indeed to Beth and to Johnny. Very, very helpful. Hopefully that answered some of your questions. And thank you so much if you did submit a question to us here at the UCAS International podcast. Don't forget, we also have our Across the Nations sub-series available for you as well if you'd like to find out more about studying in the 4 nations that make up the UK. All available via ucas.com/international. We will speak soon.